Hello, good day. This is English for SHS1, Lesson 16, Essay Writing. My name is Mabel Nunufiu, and the topic for this lesson is the paragraph. In the last lesson, we discussed planning your essays. We saw that we could use the technique called brainstorming to help us get ideas on the topic we want to write about. When we plan our essays, we think hard about the topic and then we write down the ideas that come to our mind. We write them down as single words or as phrases. These ideas are the ones we will explain and illustrate in the body of the essay. We also learned how to use clustering to plan our essays. We are also reminded that we need to think about the audience in order to collect only the relevant ideas when we brainstorm. In today's lesson, we shall learn about turning our ideas into paragraphs. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to 1. Identify the parts of a paragraph. 2. Develop an idea into a paragraph. When we write an essay, an article, a letter, or a chapter of a book, we sometimes speak of more things than one. Sometimes, too, we speak of more than one aspect of the same thing. A device called the paragraph enables us to make clear to ourselves and our readers when we start to speak either of a new thing or of a new aspect of the thing already being discussed. Therefore, we say the paragraph is a group of sentences about one idea. The paragraph may also be defined as the divisions of a continuous passage of writing, an essay, an article, or a letter. Let us watch the video and discuss what happened in it to help us explain this idea further.
Hey, Betty. What's biting you?
Oh, Anne, nothing. I'm reciting a poem to myself.
You are learning a poem. Is it by Soyinka?
I've written one. I write poems sometimes.
Oh, really? You do?
Yeah, I write poems when I am sad.
Hey, what's it about?
Verse. In fact, the title is One Wrong Word.
Why will you want to write about a word?
Don't you see? One wrong word can make me lose you.
I see. But what about the word did you write about?
The power that a word has.
But why the wrong word?
You know Ken?
Our classmates, the son of the politician. Yes, of course, I know him.
You see, yesterday Ken called me a village girl. I'll never forget it, and I'll never like him anymore. I used to like him very much, you know.
Oh, what a shame. Can I read it?
Sure. Why not?
Now, let us discuss what happened in the video that we have watched. Imagine that you were Anne. You are Betty's friend. You are writing about your best friend. One of the things you will write about is what Betty likes to do. Watch the video once again.
Hey, Betty. What's biting you?
Oh, Anne, nothing. I'm reciting a poem to myself.
You are learning a poem. Is it by Soyinka?
I've written one. I write poems sometimes.
Oh, really? You do?
Yeah, I write poems when I am sad.
Hey, what's it about?
Verse. In fact, the title is One Wrong Word.
Ah, why will you want to write about a word?
Don't you see? One wrong word can make me lose you.
I see. But what about the word did you write about?
The power that a word has.
But why the wrong word?
You know Ken?
Our classmates, the son of the politician. Yes, of course, I know him.
You see, yesterday Ken called me a village girl. I'll never forget it, and I'll never like him anymore. I used to like him very much, you know.
Oh, what a shame. Can I read it?
Sure. Why not?
Let us build on the idea from the dialogue between Anne and Betty. What shall we say the dialogue between the two is about? It is certainly about one of the things that Betty likes to do. What is it? Here are questions that the dialogue answers for us. 1. What does Betty like to do when she is sad? 2. When did she last do this? 3. Why did she do this? Answers to these questions tell us more about what Betty likes to do. When we write, we may state an idea in a sentence. If, as a friend of Betty, we are writing about her, one of the things we would like to write about her is what she likes to do. Let us use the question and answer session in the video to illustrate this. The question: what does Betty like to do? An answer to that: Betty likes to write poems. The next question: when does Betty write poems? Answer to that: Betty writes poems when she is sad. Question: when did she last do this? An answer to that was last night. Question: can you give us an example of what Betty writes? Answer: recently, she wrote a poem on how a single word can hurt. She wrote it when her classmates called her a village girl. In the dialogue, Anne asked about the poem, and Betty explained. When we write, we must explain our ideas too. Betty also gave an example of one of the things that made her sad enough to make her write a poem. This was when a classmate called her a village girl. The example makes the idea even clearer. We will put all these sentences together in a group. This group of sentences will be called a paragraph. Here is how Anne reports what happened between Betty and her in writing. Betty likes to write poems. She writes poems especially when she becomes sad. For example, recently, one of her classmates called her a village girl. This made her very sad. Then she wrote a poem. The poem says how a single word can hurt very much. It is likely that Betty will never forget this event. Now, let's look at the elements of a paragraph. The first answer in the question and answer session says what the whole paragraph is about. Betty likes to write poems. This is the kind of sentence that is called a topic sentence. Remember, from the video that the discussion is all about Betty. Now, the specific idea about Betty that is being discussed is what Betty likes to do. If we turn this into a question, we will have, what does Betty like to do? The answer will be, Betty likes to write poems. This is the process that should give you the topic sentence. Now, let us try creating a few topic sentences. Let us assume that we are writing about Betty. Apart from what Betty likes to do, what other things would you like to say about Betty? Let us pause and write down a few of the things we would like to say about Betty. Here are some of the other ideas you will have put down. 1. Betty's school. 2. Betty's parents. 3. Betty's best friend. 4. The game Betty likes. 5. Betty's physical appearance. Now, make a sentence to state each of these ideas. Perhaps the first one will be, Betty's school is called Shalom Local Authority School. Now make your sentences for the 4 other ideas. When you have your topic sentence in place, the other sentences will explain this idea. How will the other sentences explain this idea? When we explain, we answer questions such as those that begin with what, who, when, where, why, how, whose, which, about the idea. Let us take the first idea for an example. That idea was what Betty likes to do. The topic sentence was, Betty likes to write poems. Now we could ask ourselves, when does Betty write her poems? The answer is, she writes poems when she is sad. We can also ask, why does she write poems? As we ask questions like these and we answer them, we will be developing our ideas or our paragraph by explaining. We can develop our ideas or our paragraph further by giving examples. Let us look at our sample paragraph again. Betty likes to write poems. She writes poems especially when she becomes sad. For example, recently, one of her classmates called her a village girl. This made her very sad. Then she wrote a poem. The poem says how a single word can hurt very much. It is likely that Betty will never forget this event. The third sentence of the paragraph begins with, for example. An example is given here. This is one common way to give an example. An example will make the idea being discussed clearer. It is helping to develop our idea more. Let us try to develop the idea of Betty's school further here. We shall begin with our topic sentence. Betty's school is called Shalom Roman Catholic School. It is in Twenjole town near Amasaman. It is the school you find on your right as you enter the village from Amasaman on the Accra to Kumasi highway. Shalom RC is the oldest school in the town. Many parents send their children to Shalom RC because almost all students of the school pass their WASSCE examinations with credits and gain admission into universities of their choice. Let us try to identify the questions that we have answered to explain the topic. Betty's school is called Shalom Roman Catholic School. We have answered the question, where can we find Betty's school? In fact, we have given two answers to this question. We have also answered the question, why did Betty choose the school? What other questions can we ask about Betty's school? Write down 3 other questions that you would like to ask about Betty's school. You see, by asking and answering questions on one particular idea, we can develop a good paragraph. Now, let us look at the 2 main forms of a paragraph. 2 main forms of a paragraph. One way by which we identify a paragraph is the indentation. The first word of the first line of the paragraph is written slightly further away from the left margin of the page than the first words of the succeeding lines in the paragraph. The paragraph will look like this, as on your screen. Betty likes to write poems. She writes poems especially when she becomes sad. For example, recently, one of her classmates called her a village girl. This made her very sad. Then she wrote a poem. The poem says how a single word can hurt very much. It is likely that Betty will never forget this event. Another way of indicating a new paragraph is by leaving space between one paragraph and another. This is called the block paragraphing style. The paragraph will look like this. Betty likes to write poems. She writes poems especially when she becomes sad. For example, recently, one of her classmates called her a village girl. This made her very sad. Then she wrote a poem. The poem says how a single word can hurt very much. It is likely that Betty will never forget this event. If you use this kind of paragraphing style, you will need to leave a line between one paragraph and the next one when you write in your exercise book. This will make clear distinctions among the paragraphs. Why do we write in paragraphs? There are 2 main reasons for writing in paragraphs. First, the paragraph indicates that a group of sentences is being written about the same idea. Second, the idea of a paragraph limits what we say in a paragraph and helps us to stick to one particular point. Now, to sum up this lesson, in this session, we have learned that 1. When we write, we need to state the idea we wish to discuss, explain it, and then give examples to make the idea even clearer. 2. We use a group of sentences to discuss one idea in a paragraph. 3. The paragraph helps us to focus on one idea at a time. 4. We use the indentation or space to indicate a new paragraph. We have come to the end of this lesson. I will be coming your way again. Till I do so, cheerio from me, Mabel Nunufew.